now that the live feed is going to take us in an hour or so's time to something that's already ongoing, and it's been ongoing since morning, and that's the WRC top tier rallying itself. In the afternoon, the Kenya National Rally Championship will resume from yesterday, and we explained in our morning session pretty much how that fits into the bigger picture of the WRC. Let's start, first things first, heads up, update. Is there much change from what we discussed in the morning in terms of hierarchy? Who's on course to win, who's on course to finish second, who's on course to finish third on this day 3?
Okay, up to the first service of the day, and that was after stage 10, which was Sleeping Warrior 1 for today. The results were as follows. Sebastian Oje was first. 22 seconds behind him was Kalero Vampera. Another about 20 seconds behind him was Esapeka Lapi. Another about a minute was behind him was Elfin Evans. Another minute behind him is Katsuta. And then we have Danny Soda, we have Ot Tanak, we have Pierre Lube, and we have Kajetanovic, and we have G Munster for the top 10, basically. So the big change there is Esapeka has leapfrogged Evans. We hear Evans' car had a problem in the river crossing. This is a problem they had in Italy, the Toyotas. They seem to have been a bit allergic to the water. Very lucky the other Toyotas didn't suffer this, but apparently when Evans went into the water, and I read a story saying that he says that he was very slow. He remembers what happened in Italy, but still the car went off, started for a few seconds, and this enabled Lapi to overtake him. Otherwise, the standings are the same.
Pretty much, eh?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Daudi, yesterday the weatherman predicted that there will be some showers in Naivasha, and apparently it did not rain during the day when the rally is taking place. It rained at night when the rally isn't taking place. Do you think this has sort of had an impact
absolutely
on the rallying so far?
Absolutely. I remember Julian Porter, the WRC, committed to saying that the rains were going to come anytime. And of course now it did rain at night. And this is actually what has created that mudbath around the Sleeping Warrior and Soisambu. And with the Esapeka Lapi, who is actually doing a Hyundai, a very good driver, this is actually his debut. You see now he's frog-ripped Elvin Evans, because we are told Elvin Evans' Toyota was able to kind of like splash into water, and once they splash into water, those hybrid cars, they kind of temporarily stop, and of course then restart. And that stoppage, which could end up to 5 seconds, 3 seconds, that's why you see right now Esapeka Lapi is behind Khaled Lovmbera for 9.7 seconds behind the second leader in this particular event right now.
Ot Tanak, he led on the first day based on points, Kasarani section, courtesy of that. He was world champion WRC 2019, and he's won pretty much everything that there is to win in the WRC circuit, apart from the Safari Rally. Do you think this piles up the pressure on him, or is he just going to play with experience? What goes through a rally driver's mind and his navigator when push comes to shove?
Ot Tanak is lying in 7th, and he's actually just about 4.5 minutes behind. This is Safari. If you think about it, 4 minutes is nothing. Somebody could stop with a puncture, with maybe something else, and your 4 minutes evaporates. So he is in 7th place, which seems to be very far away. But you never know. After today's rallying, we'll be able to get a better picture of what's going to happen. But of course, it will be pressure on him. He needs to collect the points. He's a bit disappointed maybe with the performance of his car. He's had some issues with the tires. He's had some, I think, electrical issues. But I mean, he showed us on the Super Special at Kasarani that he has the pace. And I assure you, I saw him in Kedong on Friday, and he was one of the guys who you could tell, even if you didn't know anything about rally, that car was the pedal was at the metal, basically.
Kanja, that's your favorite to win, Tanak, isn't it?
Ot Tanak is actually usually my favorite. That young man from Estonia. And like you said, 2019 WRC champion. And of course, last year he was doing Hyundai. And then, of course, he moved to Ford Puma. And that's why he was able even to take one of the fixtures this year. It's still too early to kind of like say he's not there. He's one guy, when he gets even to the interview point, control points, he speaks less and lets the driving speak for itself.
Let's not forget, he also went and saw our own Shuja, Eliud Kipchoge,
yes.
And he must have been given some few pointers on how to win this. So he's not yet out. I don't think he's out.
Yes, so when you say he's 4 minutes behind, just for the person that's following us on television, is that 4 minutes behind the leader,
yes.
the main leader, or 4 minutes behind the person he's actually following?
4 minutes behind the main leader. So from car number 1 up to 7 is divided only by 4 minutes. So top two cars are in the same minute.
Yes.
The one behind that is about a minute behind. So
the fact that there's other drivers in between, does that not complicate the equation? Because, well, okay, fine, the top driver, in this case Sebastian Ogier, may have a mechanical fault, God forbid, but okay. But there's these other ones. There's no way on earth, surely, even if the gods are smiling at you, that all these other cars before you can experience a mechanical problem or another. How, I mean, what are his chances?
You know, OJ on the second stage, the first stage of Friday, actually said he was driving slowly. And when he came to the end, he was 7 minutes faster than everybody else. If you collect 7 minutes on this 1 or 2 stages, you can be fast very easily. You can be fast. Remember, a lot of people are also trying to nurse their cars back to the end. A lot of people are not going to be really giving it. And so anything can happen. He's not, I wouldn't count him out at this point.
And just to add on to that, actually,
please do.
Rallying is tactical. It's not pushing your car to the limit, such that you're always the leader at the top there. It's taking care of your car, care of your tires, and care of your dampers. Because actually that is what brought Thierry Neuville into the main competition now. Because either he must have driven so fast, and one of the dampers really went off, and he ended up losing several minutes. So even 4 minutes, it could be very humongous, but anything can happen. It's still a short period of time.
Okay. You mentioned earlier, but on this session, Kego, that is it Toyota that have a problem? They've had a problem this year when it's rained.
In Sardinia.
What sort of, is it a mechanical problem?
As the cars were hitting the water in Sardinia, they were all cutting out. So they didn't say what the issue was. You know, sometimes these teams like to be quite secretive. They're not going to tell you exactly what the issue is. But all the Toyotas without fail were hitting water and stuttering. And that stuttering, you know, is 3 seconds. If you have 3 water jumps, that's what, you know, 9, almost 10 seconds. So it was something that was worrying. And the report I have seen is that when that happened to Elfin this morning, the Toyota guys were a bit worried, because they were like, if it's going to start happening now, then we might have a problem, because as we've heard, Soisambu has rained, Sleeping Warrior has rained, there's a lot of big mud baths, but it only happened to Evans. Maybe the other cars, they approach the water jumps in a different way. And these are all the variables that make the Safari so unpredictable.
But why this certain brand of car having this particular brand?
The hybrid.
Hybrid?
Not just the hybrid, Toyota in particular.
Yes.
Because in fact, the reasons the Hyundais did so well in the last event is because they didn't have any of that problem. And it seems, and as I was watching the video, you could actually see as the car was hitting the water, the Hyundais was splashing the water out, as opposed to the Toyota was splashing the car up, and for a moment you couldn't see the car.
So is that a manufacturing issue?
Well,
the way the vehicle
maybe
is
a
built.
Design, maybe how the spoiler in the front is.
Yes.
They'd have to figure it out. But you could definitely see that the Hyundais and the Toyotas were hitting the water, and there were very different results. The Toyotas were, you know, wipers on. The Hyundais were hitting the water and the splashing was going out. So whether they were hitting them faster or something, but definitely the water was affecting the Toyotas.
And I remember also in the Royal Kenya where it rained heavily, Otis Anak had the same problem. He splashed into water and he temporarily stopped for several seconds. And of course later on,